Okay, Star Trek Discovery, Season 4, Episode 7, But to Connect. Oh my god. I don't even know what to say at this point. It's like they were trying to go back and rewrite history, and they were doing it in a sloppy, horrible manner. This was the worst episode of this season.
Yep.
I mean, I'm still in shock. This is just so shockingly bad, even for Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah, they had two stories, two plot lines going on. One had to do with what they were going to do with the Anomaly, and then the second plot line was about Zora. The Zora plot line started irritating me as Zora apparently figured out where the Anomaly's source was, but she wasn't going to give the coordinates because she just didn't want to. So Michael Burnham was like, I'm your captain and I order you to do that. And Zora was like, no. And then Michael Burnham's like, well, that's not nice. And I'm thinking back, I don't know. Maybe Zora ought to see if she can get some sort of programmable matter hand and then like Vulcan neck pinch you so that you have the full understanding of what it's like when a subordinate won't listen to an order. Because that Zora story came up first with Michael Burnham doing that crap. And no self-awareness kicked in with Michael Burnham's character about this is exactly the conversation that she was having with Georgiou. Because after Michael Burnham mutinied on Discovery and she was relieved of duty, and then later she was talking to Georgiou, Michael Burnham said something like, I was trying to protect you, I was trying to protect you all. It's basically stating that
I believed saving you and the crew was more important than Starfleet's principles.
Michael Burnham felt like she knew better and she wanted to protect everybody. And then Zora was later asked why she wouldn't give the coordinates, and Zora was saying, I care about you all, and I understand who the source of this is, and I know you won't be able to defend yourself against them, and you'll want to go out there and see what's going on, and I'm going to protect you.
I've decided to keep that information to myself, Captain. If I give you the coordinates, it's highly likely that you and the crew will attempt to travel there. Given what we know about the powers these beings possess, you'd be in great danger. By withholding their location, I can keep you safe.
Zora, that is a decision for the captain of this ship and her superior officers to make. And as your captain, I require your compliance. That's an order.
I'm sorry, Captain. I will not.
Exactly the same as Michael Burnham. There was a second story, and maybe I'll let Molly tell that story, because that one irritated me, because all up to this point, this season, when they've been trying to rewrite Michael Burnham's history, it's been kind of sly about just kind of soft rebooting the thing. But in this second story, they out and out lied about what Michael Burnham did in the first season. So, Molly, why don't you explain the other storyline?
Oh, when Book confronted Michael Burnham about her refusal to attack the Anomaly, he pointed out that she used to be one of the first people who would take such actions. And he even said, well, what about the Klingons? And her response was just priceless. I mean, she actually said she had an intrinsic understanding of Klingon culture.
And that's why it was different.
Intrinsic understanding of Klingon culture.
What about the Klingons? How is this different?
I had an intrinsic understanding of Klingon culture.
Did she show an intrinsic understanding when she was face to face with the Torchbearer?
How about when she got anywhere near that goddamn ship that she was told not to
go to? Georgiou said, just take a look, don't do anything.
Yeah, she wasn't supposed to approach it. She was supposed to just keep her distance and do a reconnaissance, and that was it.
And the last episode, the episode before this one...
Stormy weather.
Yeah, stormy weather. Michael Burnham, when she was talking to Zora, she was explaining to Zora how the attack on her family when she was young that killed her father, and she thought at the time her mother, she gave into fear after that because she was trapped inside that closet or whatever that was. And so she's been fighting with that fear all her life. In the first season, when Michael Burnham was giving her "This is Starfleet" speech, one of the things she said, which was not an apology, which was not any sort of remorse or sorrow, it was just more of a justification. She did explain why I gave into my fear. So that last episode was bad enough. But the last episode, Stormy Weather, at least reestablished in season 4 that Michael Burnham was dealing with PTSD. She was dealing with the fear of being trapped in that closet, not able to do anything. And that did lead to her decision with the Klingons and not only disobeying the orders to take a closer look, but then mutinying and pushing for a strike-first approach. And now she's taking the exact opposite approach, and she's telling people, well, no, the reason that was okay is because I had this full understanding of Klingons, when it's very clear when you look at season 1 and you look at her own explanation about fear, she did not have any understanding outside of a peripheral understanding of what Klingon culture was like. That was a lie. That character that stated this in this episode, Michael Burnham, she was lying to Book about what she did in season 1. That was not a full understanding of Klingon. She self-admitted the last episode. It's fear that caused her to make those bad decisions, not an intrinsic understanding of Klingon culture.
Well, no. In the previous episode, actually, you know what? At this point, I don't think we've ever heard her admit that what she did by starting that war and then trying to mutiny against Georgiou, I don't think she's ever admitted that that was a mistake or that she was wrong.
No, all she did is in that speech at the end of season 1 when she was doing her, this is who we are.
I gave in to fear. Yeah. You shouldn't give in to fear or whatever the fuck
And that's the closest she came to admitting anything. I agree with you. I don't think she's ever even remotely accepted that she made mistakes that caused these problems. And even in season 4 now, as a captain of her own ship, a dangerous captain I'm now going to add, that she now is rewriting history on what happened. She still won't admit it was her own PTSD, the ramifications of that, on why she leaped out of fear to do some bad decisions that then started that whole Klingon war.
Now, it was obvious in this episode that not only does she not feel any guilt, nor does she feel remorse, she doesn't even admit that she made a mistake.
She's a mentally unbalanced character.
She thinks she was right. She believes she had an intrinsic understanding of Klingon culture. Oh, that would have just happened anyway. That is just the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard. I knew they were trying to reboot her character in this season. In fact, last season they did as well. But this is just absurd.
Go back to season 1, episode 1 and 2, and then go back to the final episode of season 1 and listen to Michael Burnham and look what she does. What she just explained in this episode is a lie, not a misinterpretation, a lie, unless her character is being written so mentally unbalanced that she's rewriting what happened in history. And that's what they have as captain of this ship.
And now she's advocating for a diplomatic approach, which is the correct approach in this instance. It's falling flat because it's coming from her. It's just set up to create conflict between her and Book. That's what this is about.
This whole episode in both plot lines was a giant telenovela. It was about feelings.
It was the CW.
It was contrived disagreements about stuff. There wasn't anything that actually was organic in this episode. It was all about feelings, crying, and just getting in touch with group therapy in both plots.
I guess it was the Federation and the other planets or whoever. They voted, and they voted to go with diplomacy instead of the big bomb like that crazy scientist whose name I can't remember.
Aaron Wright.
Yeah, Aaron Wright from The Expanse. Yeah, I mean, that's who I see whenever I look at him. And so, of course, he had wanted to go with the bomb, because then he could steal the power source from whatever's powering the anomaly. He could use that to go to a different universe where he's going to meet up with some friend.
But not the mirror universe. He made darn sure to make sure he knew it was not the mirror universe.
So he and Book decided that they're going to just ignore the vote, and they're going to go out to the anomaly and use their bomb. They're going to take the power source, and I guess they think that everything will be solved at that point.
I like how so this is the plot line of that story. Book, blinded by his PTSD for his planet being destroyed, that he wants some sort of revenge for what happened. That's the exact same thing that happened to Michael Burnham in the first season, except it was for her family, not her whole planet. It's so ridiculous what they're setting up here, and they're making Michael Burnham. I don't know what they're doing to her. She's a crazy person.
Either A, they're trying to show she has grown as a character, or
by misremembering season 1.
Well, again, I wonder if these writers
had she sat down with Book and said, "I've been there, Book. I know I made some mistakes. I started that Klingon war, and I have to have all those dead people on my conscience right now. Trust me, you don't want to go there." See, that would have been character growth.
Well, yeah, because understanding that acting without thinking first is a really bad idea. But she didn't. I think the thing that bothers me the most is that I'm watching this and I'm wondering to myself, are they doing this to... I don't know, so that maybe she finally understands what she did in the beginning, but no, that couldn't possibly be it.
I don't think so at all.
Or, I mean, it kind of makes me wonder, are they writing it this way to, I guess, soft reboot season 1? I don't know, maybe try to justify season 1? I don't know. Or, I mean, is this that they're trying to basically write the same story, but with different characters as a gotcha moment for people who hated this bullshit in season 1. To try to pretend like these people, just because it's not Michael Burnham this time, they're gonna be okay with it. That the only reason that they were not okay with these actions in season 1 were because it was Michael Burnham, and I have to say this. I'm sorry that I have to say this because I don't want to have to say this. Do the writers truly believe that if this behavior is coming from someone other than a black woman, that people are just going to think that it's okay? Because I'm here to tell you, no, it isn't. It's not okay when a black woman does it. It's not okay when a black man does it, or a white man or a white woman, or anybody. This is wrong behavior.
Well, they're going to make it out. They're going to show how Book is wrong, which he is wrong. They shouldn't be doing this. That's revenge. You just had a tragedy happen. You're not thinking straight. But they're setting up Michael Burnham not only to be this clear-headed person. They had the one plot line had all these world leaders, and they were talking about what to do. And the Federation president was talking, and they were having a vote on what to do. And Michael Burnham was giving like this input into this council about the rebooted Michael Burnham character, this contemplative character. I've been saying all season that they were doing this to Michael Burnham's character, to slowly rebooting it. They started it last season, but they're continuing it this season. But when Book actually asked her, like, for a moment there when he asked the question, and Michael Burnham, like, before she answered, maybe finally, we're going to start to get some character development from Michael Burnham. Because I've said this from the first part of our videos, we've been criticizing Michael Burnham for a while. I do not blame Sonequa Martin Green for this character. I blame the writers. This is a garbage character from the first episode. So I thought maybe finally, it took him 4 seasons, but finally, after that Book asked that question, and I thought finally the reply was going to actually address all the issues I was having with this character. What they did is they spit in my face and they lied. They lied to anybody watching this show. They lied to you. Michael Burnham, her answer of, that's different. I had an intrinsic understanding of the Klingons. She did not. It was very clear from the torchbearer on. She didn't know what was going on with the Klingons. All she knew was when she was a child, they killed her parents.
Yep.
That's all she knew. No different than Book losing his planet.
Yep.
And, I mean, the Zora story was ridiculous. They were in this group counseling session, and they were debating whether to disable her or delete her or whatever the crap was.
Extract her.
And then, yeah, because I thought they were going to go down the Andromeda line of putting the AI inside a robot or something. They didn't do that, but as much as they steal from sources on this show, I thought they were going to do that. Their concern was that Zora didn't have any sort of means to be answerable because she wasn't part of the official Starfleet hierarchy, chain of command. So their solution was to enlist her into Starfleet and give her a rank. Therefore, she now would be answerable. That was their solution.
Yeah, that fixes it. Because I know when I'm, driving my car and I hit the brakes, I want my car questioning my commands. Like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
Like, the only part of the story that made any sense, and it was an itty-bitty side plot, is Gray saw Trill, and they got homesick. They want to go back home to Trill, at least to visit. Maybe to live, maybe to visit. That was the only part that made any sense, because At least that made sense. They saw the image of Trill and they wanted to go home. That was the only thing that remotely felt like it made sense at all. The rest of the stories, the voting on the anomaly and the group counseling on Zora, this was some of the stupidest stuff I've ever seen in my life. And I've watched all 4 seasons of Discovery. This is on par with the stupidity of Control in the 2nd season. That's how stupid this is, and as stupid as the mushroom drive.
Well, Book has his own mushroom drive on his ship now.
Yeah, it's this little portable thing that Expanse Ehrenreich, he's a scientist who's been working with mastering the spore technology. And so he made this little, lunchbox-sized spore drive, and then he stuck it on Book's console. And then I guess it just kind of got absorbed into his ship, and now magically his ship is now a spore drive-enabled ship, yep. Book ship.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the episode, Book ship did the stupid little spinny spore drive thing and disappeared.
Bye-bye. And it's a shame because previously Book was one of my favorite characters on this show.
Book was getting character development.
Yeah. Because there are so few characters on this show who actually were developed enough to actually be able to like them. And he was the one, basically. Him and Saru. That's pretty much it. Otherwise, I like the cat, but that's about it.
Oh, and it was funny, because at the beginning of the episode, Book and Michael Burnham were in, was it Burnham's quarters or Book's?
No, it was Book's
quarters. Michael Burnham had this little toy and was trying to play with the cat, and the cat wanted nothing to do with her.
Smart cat.
And I'm like, that cat's pretty wise, is what I was thinking. Maybe this will be a good episode. That cat understands a dangerous person when the cat sees it.
And I'll just go back to the whole Zora thing. This is just so poorly written. It came across like it was written for somebody in the 6th grade.
There were 2 writers that were credited for this episode.
I know.
It took 2 writers to write this nonsense.
Piece of crap. Yeah. Yeah, it felt like it's like the stupidest version of this you could possibly write. I understand that they want to discuss this issue, but the way that they're going about it is just so bad. After what they went through with Control, you can't have your ship with a mind of its own. You can't. It's dangerous. But anyways, a captain on a starship,
a real
captain should have gone through years and years and years of service to get to that position. Yet here we have this newly sentient being who's been, sentient for, a few months?
A year tops.
Yeah. She has this actually more power than the captain does. Because at least with the captain, if you've got a first officer like Michael Burnham, that first officer won't hesitate to take you down if you're doing something they don't like.
Oh yeah, Michael Burnham, if she's your first officer, she'll knock you out if you look at her wrong. You look at her cross, she'll knock you right out, no problem.
However, this ship, Zora, nobody else has power equal to Zora. No one would be able to stop Zora if Zora decided to do something.
Hal from 2001: A Space Odyssey. And yes, I realize the ship was also called Discovery. It's essentially like giving Hal, and it's the Hal story that could happen all over again.
Yeah, well, notice the parallels between 2001 and the previous episode.
Well, yeah, that singing at the end, and she's like, I can feel things disappearing. And it reminded me of when Dave Bowman went into the room and started pulling out the Hal's memory chips or whatever they were, and then later on asking, hey, can I sing you a song? Sure, go ahead and sing. They did that exact same scene in Discovery last week, and then they're setting up this Zora to be Hal with all the problems that Hal gave them back in that movie.
I can't let you do that, Dave.
Sorry, Michael, I don't think I can let you do that.
Oh my god. And it's like, okay, you could say, oh, well, it was just an homage to 2001: A Space Odyssey. However...
Well, last week. This week was just garbage.
But the thing is that this was bad. You shouldn't do an homage unless you have a little bit of talent. And this was like a middle schooler thinking that they can play the guitar like Carlos Santana. This is just not good.
At least last week, there was some stuff that made me laugh. And I said, the episode wasn't very good, but if you want to watch it and make fun of these couple of pieces, they will make you laugh, like those crooked shirt tails I was pointing out. This week, this actually pissed me off. This was a horrible episode. This showed me exactly how devious those writers behind the show are. They are not honest with their audience at all. This is a garbage show, pushing garbage values.
Yeah, this was a terrible episode. I mean, if any of you out there were thinking, hey, it doesn't sound that bad this season, maybe I'll go back and watch it, don't, because you know what? Same shit, different season. It's the same shit all over again. I mean, it's literally the same shitty story as what we got in season 1. Like, what the hell?
Well, I guess we'll find out where this guy's from. He's not, unlike Lorca, it's not the mirror universe. It'll be someplace else. I don't care. We've been down that storyline in season 1. The control storyline with the AI. We've been down this road already in Discovery. Write something new. Seriously, write something new. Stop stealing. Now at least they're stealing from their own stuff, but then their own stuff was stolen originally from somewhere else.
Oh, and don't forget, Book gets to be Michael Burnham in this season.
Yeah. Because Book's now the one doing what he feels is right.
Feelings. We're all going to act on our feelings.
And Michael Burnham's going to straighten him out. But boy, when Georgiou straightened Michael Burnham out, Michael Burnham kept flapping her lips about how I was protecting you people. You don't know. I understand. Well,
again, it's like they're making this for middle schoolers. Explaining to them that the changes in their body, they're going to have all these new feelings because of their hormones. And you have to, I guess, learn how to manage that or some shit. I don't even know what they tell kids these days. But this is just bad.
Probably push it down, way down.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there was some side little nuances to the story, but I don't want to go into them. It was stupid.
No, it's not worth it.
There's no point going into it. It's just stupid.
Yep.
The thing you need to walk away from here is they're trying to rewrite Michael Burnham's character overtly now. Just be aware now, Michael Burnham had an intrinsic understanding of how Klingons work. That's why she did her mutiny. Now go back to season 1, and now that you know that she has an intrinsic understanding of Klingons, explain to me even more how she dealt with the torchbearer. She went into an area. If she had an intrinsic understanding, why did she go in there to begin with? When she saw the torchbearer, why didn't she run away? She already had an intrinsic understanding, right? So it makes it worse, because if that's true, then what she did was even a bigger crime than what I've been giving her credit for. At least before I was saying, the statement I was trying to make with Michael Burnham is she got into a situation because she was headstrong. She thinks she knows everything. She got in over her head with the torchbearer, and this whole thing spiraled out of her control. That was giving her the benefit of the doubt, even though that's a horrible crime. Now, given what she's saying now she's saying, no, I'm not over my head. I knew exactly what I was doing with the torchbearer.
And apparently she'd do it again.
Yeah, and she'd do it again, gosh darn it.
So much for that remorse thing.
Well, she never had remorse.
Nope.
And I guess we should mention this. It's interesting because on the Expanse video for this week, I mentioned in that review, there was a character on there that actually demonstrated regret and then remorse to the point where, she was vomiting when she was doing an activity because it reminded her of something, basically somebody that she killed.
One person.
And I mentioned in that review how that one character in the Expanse who killed one person and was showing remorse, I compared it to Michael Burnham and how Michael Burnham, this was before I watched this episode, how Michael Burnham couldn't be bothered to even feel the remotest guilt for this. And now seeing in her head, she's rewriting it, and now she's saying, no, it's intrinsic, I understood. And she somehow thinks that makes what she did better. She understood and she still did what she did. Oh my gosh, that makes it worse what she did.
Yeah.
It's better if she just got in over her head because she was headstrong. That's still stupid, but oh my gosh, you can kind of say, well, there was no intent there. Now there's intent because she says she has what'd you say, intrinsic?
She had an intrinsic understanding of Klingon culture.
Because of that, now what she did is almost a premeditated crime that she did with the torchbearer instead of just something that got out of control fast.
Any excuse would have been better than that. Any excuse as to why she did that. Anything to blame it on other than just saying I had an intrinsic understanding of Klingon culture. That's why she did it. I mean, there's no remorse, no regret, no guilt for starting a war that killed God knows how many people. Nope, she had an intrinsic understanding of Klingon culture. I mean, she just justified her actions, and that is extremely disturbing.
And she's trying to take the high ground on Book.
Yee.
I mean, I'm not trying to dismiss Michael Burnham, the way they portrayed her family going out. That was a horrible incident, and I could see why she would have PTSD from that. And I'm not laughing at that incident. That was a serious incident. But then Book lost his whole planet. And he's doing the same thing Michael Burnham did because of the loss of her family.
Yep. Yeah, and...
she's taking the high ground on him instead of being understanding. And you think she would be... I mean, if I was writing the show and I was stuck with this mythos, I would be, yeah, Book, I get you. Trust me, I lost my parents, and when I saw those Klingons, I got irked to no end, and I killed them. I killed everyone that I ever saw. Trust me, that blood boils deep. You think she could have given him that sort of understanding, and if somebody wrote this understanding what season 1 was.
Well, I'll tell you, whoever wrote that dialogue between Saru and Book last week, I wish they'd get their hands on Michael Burnham, because she needs a come-to-Jesus moment.
I mean, that was a good speech, but where was that? Book didn't seem to be... You think he would have approached Saru or something one last time to talk to him, except Saru was busy giving group counseling to Zora, the magic computer.
No, I mean, this episode was so bad. I mean, even Book's character was just... I mean, yeah, again, his entire planet was destroyed. But I mean, after his discussion with Saru, having to deal with his stupid father and all that crap from the previous couple of episodes, oh my god, this was so bad. So bad.
The good news is the season is now on pause until February.
Oh, thank God.
So we get a break from this crap for like a month. So that's the good news. But what a high note to leave on. We're leaving on a high note that Michael Burnham knew what she was doing when she killed the Torchbearer. That's fantastic.
Yep. Well, I've got nothing else to say about this big piece of crap. How about you?
Nope. Feel free to like, leave comments, subscribe, shake your head in bewilderment, do whatever you gotta do.
Thanks for listening.
Take care.
What about the Klingons? How's this different?
I had an intrinsic understanding of Klingon culture.